It's Wednesday morning, and today we turn to Matthew 19, verses 1 through 9, I think. Yes. When Jesus finished these sayings, he went away from Galilee and entered the region of Judea beyond the Jordan. And large crowds followed him, and he healed them there. The Pharisees came up to him and tested him by asking, "Is it lawful to divorce one's wife for any cause?" He answered, "Have you not read that he who created them from the beginning made them male and female, and said, 'Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh.' So they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let not man separate." And they said to him, "Why then did Moses command one to give a certificate of divorce and to send her away?" Jesus said to them, "Because of your hardness of heart, Moses allowed you to divorce your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. And I say to you, whoever divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, and marries another, commits adultery." So this is one of those hard teachings of Jesus. Hard for us because in our day we've allowed people to get divorced for all kinds of reasons, and some people get divorced several times. Years ago, I was counseling a couple before their wedding, and they had a very successful marriage, but I knew the woman had been married before, and she mentioned that she'd been married 3 times already, and I said, whoa, is there a pattern here? Is there something we need to talk about before we go forward with this? And she said, well, the first 2 were abusive addicts, and the third one ran away with someone else. So I said, okay, so you haven't been at fault. And she says, I really don't think so. And they had a good marriage. So we have all kinds of reasons why people want to get divorced. Jesus said, though, and the Pharisees wanted it to be that way, just obeying the law of Moses. You simply write, "I divorce thee," on a piece of paper or something and hand it to her and say, "Get out of here," and she'd have to leave. Women had no recourse. There was no court. There were no laws governing any of this. And so a woman was really without any defense. If she didn't cook supper the way the man wanted, he could kick her out. That's just the way that it was in those days. And Jesus says it shouldn't be that way. If you're going to get married and you're going to become one, then you shouldn't be divorcing each other except for cases of, unfaithfulness. And he will allow that in Matthew. And I think in the other Gospels he doesn't even go that far. But so marriage is often used in the Old Testament as a sort of let's call it a parable for God's relationship to God's people. And so the people are the wife, and God has married this wife, wants to take care of this wife, wants this wife to love him and to get along. And the wife is always running after other gods and unfaithful. And so Israel is the unfaithful wife. God is the ever patient and merciful husband. And that's a sort of a parable for how things are to be between us and God, and also us in our lives. I told couples, when you get married, you're doing something very foolish, and they look at me. And I said, well, you're making a promise that you're going to be with this person for the rest of your life, no matter what. And you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So this is kind of a foolish promise to make, because there's no way that you can know if you're going to be able, or how you're going to be able to make it. And all marriages go through ups and downs. Don't be fooled. But when we commit ourselves to someone for life, we should make that commitment and stay by that commitment, I think. On the other hand, there are times when it can't continue, and it shouldn't continue. The Roman Church has made it into a sacrament. I had a professor once who said, well, it's a promise, and two people make promises, and people often break promises and fail to live up to promises, and so we shouldn't require them to live up to a promise when they can't. And I think that's how I view marriage. It's a promise. You make a promise with the best of intentions, and you hope, by the grace of God, to be able to fulfill that promise and continue. Okay, that's enough about that. Let's but ponder that today and ponder faithfulness and what that might mean for you in your life. And we'll see you tomorrow morning.